every experience is better and better and better. What things do you have that are coming up outside of the gala that you can share with us?
Sure. We do a lot throughout the year, and we really try to offer supporters or would be donors an opportunity to get to know us through different activities and events. So we have a golf tournament. It's pretty much almost sold out coming up at Black Rock on June 9th. That's an annual event for us.
You're an extra special human being, and I'm certainly very, very proud to know you. So maybe just to familiarize, because even though, you and I have known each other for a bit, I don't know too much about your background. I've really come to know you through JAF, but maybe just a little update on kind of I think you originally resided or went to school in New Jersey, am I right? Or did I imagine that? Okay.
Oh, yes, yes. You did not. I only mention it every other time we see one another, I'm sure, or to anyone. But yes, I'm originally born and raised in New Jersey, central New Jersey for folks. It's not Philly, it's not New York. It's like right along the Delaware River near Trenton and Princeton. I'm always happy to brag I'm from there. And then, so attended school there with my family. I'm one of three. Parents are school teachers and, did a lot down there, went to school down there, attended what's Trenton State College. It's now the College of New Jersey, but also met my husband there. We attended high school together. So yes, we're high school sweethearts. And then later, after being married, yeah, it was. I've known him a long time, and I met him, and my gosh, he's just been a wonderful partner to walk through life with. I couldn't have done any better. And the funny part here is we met in gym class, which is not exactly my forte or shining moment for sure. So that's how I know he always really loves me.
That's a that's that's such a beautiful story, and I know he feels equally as lucky to have you in his life. I've met him now, I think, a couple times, and just what a nice gentleman. Yeah. So
He is. We can laugh and we roll with the punches, and that's what it's all about, right? In life is finding somebody that you can trust and do that with, and that's definitely Bill. So it's good. And then eventually, our careers took us north to Massachusetts, and so we've been here since 1998, and then chose to reside in Mansfield and have our family here. And now we're the two proud parents of what are now pretty much full-grown boys,
hmm
Mason at 25 and Garrett at 22. And then we have a connection through our children as well, right? High Point University.
it was so funny. I did that post, from the graduation, and you're like, Chris, I'm here.
You just never know where you're going to find your Mansfield friends, in Massachusetts. So it's great. Yeah. So that's us. And then, being here in Mansfield in the greater community, have had and worn a great deal number of hats from working in education, worked in insurance, and certainly the nonprofit was really a theme, but also working, in the civic arena, in politics, and helping to, work and get good people elected so that we can do even more good things together. So it's kind of those two passions, two separate wheelhouses, but a common theme of just trying to do good and make our place where we live a little bit better for everybody. So that's where I am. That's me.
What do you love most about our community? Because I think it's pretty special. What kind of stands out in your mind?
It's always been the people, and I just had a conversation about this with someone, and I think it's you coming up and raising your children here, and no matter where you're from, what's your background, whatever it was, we all were willing to step forth and do something. We were always in an overabundance of volunteers for MISA, or you volunteer to support your children's sports teams, and that was the common thread there, was that people come together to help. The Mansfield Food Pantry, food trains for people that are ill, like in delivering meals. And I remember hopping on one. I didn't know the person, but it really didn't matter because you just knew their situation. They needed help and they were your neighbor. And so I got to cracking on a lasagna, and you drop it off at a person's house you never knew and put it in the cooler, and you just sent good blessings that way. So to me, that's one of the best things. And I also think, for as big as we are, we're a small town, a community. It has that small town feel. Like, I love our main street. We have a downtown, many do not. I think that's a huge advantage. So it has all these wonderful characteristics, but at the end of the day, what makes all of that work is the people that reside here. And that's how even I met you, right? You talk about groups coming together and doing good work, and you're one of those leaders that run one of those organizations.
Well, thank you. I certainly appreciate that. When you got here, was it originally, you said you've done a number of things, so it wasn't, what did you go to school for?
Communications. So, yeah, public relations. I had a minor in sociology and political science. You may have never met me because originally I had aspirations of becoming an actress and going to New York City because I was so close. I did participate in a lot of musical theater, took my turn as being Annie despite looking nothing like her. But so I mean, that was a real love and a lot of fun. Fun fact for you, Chris, was accepted to the
Wow.
High School for Performing Arts in New Jersey. So uh,
Right,
I look
right.
back and say, could have gone a whole different way. But, you realize very quickly those are really tough
Extraordinary.
standards. There's some talented people in this world, and was I going to make it? I said, oh, maybe I'll take some of those talents of speaking and not being bashful about getting with an audience and say, maybe there's another path for me. So here I am.
As I listen to you with the things that you focused on as a younger person, you have really, when I look at you, I see that you're perfectly suited for what it is that you're doing. Sometimes you'll see somebody and they're doing good work, but maybe there's a mismatch. Danielle, when I look at you, there's just such a level of congruency in what you do and the spirit in which you do things. And when I'm hearing about the communications, the public relations, the public speaking, all of these things, you've really brought them together to really impact in a very positive way the way you've chosen to give to the community.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm proud of that too. It's been a number of years and different things bring you to the table for these different organizations that I've either lent my time and talents to very happily, and I still do in that regard. The joke is, which board is it or which meeting are you going to in this house? Another meeting, what is it again? Or how do you do it all? It's because you just want to. And so I am proud of that work. And a lot of times it started with contributing to the betterment of your children's lives or their friends' lives, the schools. And then other times it was more civic minded or just a cause, like someone asked you to be a part of it. And I think if you can, and if something resonates with you, you should help if you can. So thank you for recognizing that. I've enjoyed it. And I've met some fabulous people, and some really unique stories and backgrounds that I never maybe would have otherwise. So it's worthwhile.
For sure. And may I ask, how did you come across the Joe Andruzzi Foundation? How was that connection made in the beginning?
Oh, that was a great connection. So it's one of those, like, I feel like the answer is a line from a call-in radio show where you say, long time fan, long time listener. We have been supporters of the Joe Andruzzi Foundation for years. We've gone to those fabulous galas, and I think they did like a motorcycle event over at the airport way back when. And we're talking, kids were little and even before, my husband's own experience and cancer journey. So we were fans of Joe and Jen and what they did, period. And then I met Jen through the schools because our children are about the same age. We have two children literally the same age, and we work together on a MISA. See, this is all that you work in volunteerism, and this is how you meet good people, other good people. And so she and I co-chaired. She called me one time. I'm like, ooh, Jen Andruzzi's calling me. This is fun. What could this be? And she's like, I heard you might be a good candidate to co-chair this event with me. I said, sure. Again, somebody asked. So I'm like, I can do an event. I'm pretty good at those. I'll help you out. And so we met for breakfast and chit-chatted, and of course went on to do a fundraiser that was successful. It was well timed. And then later, again, many years later, kids haven't played together, haven't seen her. She calls me up and says, hey, what are you doing? And there was a period of transition. I had left another role, and what am I going to do next? Kind of weighing that over. And she's like, let's have coffee. And when Jen Andruzzi calls and says, have coffee, something, see, yep, exactly. Reeling me in. And I should have known then that was exactly how the other time went for the MISA fundraiser. So, of course, I took the coffee, had a great time with her. And then after that, it just rolled out in the invitations like, why don't you come on in and talk about a role? So, came in and it was like, let's do some work together. Let's do some good. And I said, yes.
Isn't that wonderful? For the people that aren't familiar, can you give kind of a big picture overview of the amazing work the organization does?
Happily. So the Joe Andruzzi Foundation was co-founded by Joe Andruzzi, three-time Super Bowl champion, former New England Patriot, and his wife, Jen. Right. Woo, New England. We're there. Glory days. But they had experienced their journey with cancer when Joe was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's Burkitt's lymphoma, taking him out of football forever and fighting for his life. So when they got out of that, they fortunately had means to endure that journey, but overheard in the hospitals how some people were, crying and agonizing over how are we going to pay for this hospital treatment, and then we still have to go home and pay the mortgage. And it was in that moment that they said, we have to do more. So the Joe Andruzzi Foundation helps cancer patients and their families with everyday household expenses. So we don't do credit cards, we don't do health insurance, medical bills, anything like that. We pay the everyday. We want you to stay in your home, so we'll help pay the rent, we'll help pay a utility bill, a phone bill. Food security is a big one. We issue grocery cards so patients have the dignity to go into the store and buy food for themselves that is nutritionally relevant. We do treatment transportation, a lift. So literally we'll take you soup to nuts. We'll get you to the appointment and, really trying to be the facilitator on the outside. So it's been our pleasure to grant nearly $13 million to date across New England and helping 47,000 patients and their families.
Have you ever said that before?
Just a few times. Every time I get a little shorter, if you can believe it. But yes.
Well, it's just so extraordinary and it's so impressive. And on a personal level, you helped one of my friends, as I've shared with you before, and it just meant the world. And I don't think people can appreciate, maybe from a distance, but when you have to walk in those shoes, unfortunately, or someone and you see the impact that it has on their family, that's when the dots really connect, and it's wonderful work that you do. The organization must collaborate
Oh.
with other organizations. How is it that you find where the needs are in the community?
Right. We really take this part seriously. We, first of all, in order to identify the patients that we can help, we work with over 100 hospitals throughout New England, the social workers and the patient navigators. So they're the ones to raise the flag. They see the need, the financial toxicity. In other words, they've fallen into financial trouble because of the cancer diagnosis. They could be sailing along, they could be, really doing well in life, right? But then a diagnosis hits and it knocks them off their schedule, their flow of their life. So the social workers will let us know. But we also partner, we have a healthcare council that we created. And so they're the ones that kind of keep us ahead on trends and tell us things like, wow, we're really seeing an increase in food. People are really struggling to secure food, or transportation. That's how transportation really came about for us too. Food is now one of our largest and fastest funded because it's grown to such size because of the need alone. And to people in the healthcare industry that are telling us, we listen to our community partners because, we look at things like, again, personal best or the food pantries or local hospitals, or again, anybody that can give us a pulse on what are you experiencing. We'll talk to our friends at the Hockomock YMCA and say, boy, what's happening there? Where are you seeing the need? They too are trying to address food security. So it keeps us, we want to make sure that we are relevant, not only continuing with the basics, but making sure that if we were to develop a new program, or where do we need to allocate resources where they can do the most good or help meet that need, we, literally try to keep our finger on the pulse of the oncology community.
It's at first glance, somebody probably doesn't fully appreciate how much work is done behind the scenes to gather the information to be able to make the intelligent decisions and the giving that the foundation does. That's extraordinary work. I mean, it really, really is.
It is, and it's not easy work too. Like, so, a lot of times, again, you have our fundraising team, the advancement team, and then you have our programs team. And the programs is the folks you're talking about, is that they're taking the calls, they're taking the applications and reading their stories. And the stories aren't easy, obviously. Like, if they're there for a reason, they're in need, but some of it's just heartbreaking. And how do you decide who's going to, get the grant? We try to grant as much as we can. We have a very low declination rate, and we try to make the money go as far as we possibly can, because we know that even something in an envelope is better than nothing when it comes to tackling some of those bills. But the programs folks have a lot of reading. It's a lot of follow-up to get these grants processed, and they develop good working relationships with the social workers and patient navigators to get it done. But they work hard.
In your position, Danielle, would you say the biggest challenge of that presents itself to you? Is it the fundraising aspect, or I mean, I can't imagine sitting there reading the letters and having to make choices when I heard that. But for what are those things that really present themselves as a challenge to you?
Yes, from what I do within the organization, so I'm going to say the fundraising, right? But it's fundraising collectively, and we might all agree behind that one, no matter what our role is, because of the thing I just told you about. It's we know what the need is, so it's frustrating if we can't fundraise even more to meet these needs. I mean, I think it was we saw an increase of 25% in the last 2 weeks over our typical average number of or applications received for assistance. And so we would collectively go, if we could just raise a little more money, you know, we could help 10 more families today. So it isn't being ungrateful. We are very grateful for our donors and our supporters that have stuck with us through COVID year over year. I mean, some go right back to the very beginning of the foundation 17 years ago. Our partners that step up and work with us to try to get this job done and, put food in the hands of people in the community or, keep them in their homes. We literally grabbed a patient out of the jaws of being evicted one time because our check came through and paid the rent for at least one more month. So for us, it's the challenge of fundraising to get enough to keep meeting this need that keeps arising. And I think just in the climate that we're in, it's tough, economically challenging. So yeah, there it is. I'd say that one.
Some of the people that our charity deals with, they're on the lower economic scale, and perhaps they've grown up like that, and that's what they know, and we want to be of assistance to them. I have to imagine that in some of the cases, the people that you're dealing with, they're middle income people or whatever, but the level of expense associated with a diagnosis like cancer, I mean, who among us, isn't going to have an immediate life change? It's got to be it's got to be very difficult and psychologically difficult, certainly for the family that you're dealing with. That this is foreign for them to live hand to mouth and have this level of financial pressure in their life.
It is. You hit it right on the head there, Chris. It's Joe. I got to give him credit. He always says this: no one saves for cancer. No one has a bank account in case you get cancer to cover these needs, these household expenses, much less your financial obligations medically for hospitals and treatment. So it is. It's overwhelming, and it can happen to anybody. And I think that that's where we try to give our greatest appeal is we help any age, any type of cancer, and we offer support across the board. So yes, we have folks that fall into a low income category. They may be there that's where they've been pre-cancer. But we absolutely have those middle income families that automatically someone has work interruption. They were the primary breadwinner and it's cut down immediately. And there aren't always programs for those, and sometimes in the middle. You have those that have plenty of means, those that may be able to fall into other eligibility for other programs out there. But the ones in the middle, boy, that's a tough one. And we like to think that we at least are a lifeline in those instances because we don't have that income parameter that would exclude them from getting some assistance. So we really try to keep our doors open to those that are in need as best we can.
That's got to be a big differentiator for JAF. The fact that you don't have that qualification that might prevent somebody from getting the help and support from your organization.
It is, and we're proud of that. You can go either way. There's lots of different models for nonprofits, and all of which have very good reasons. And we've stuck with this one because we realize financial toxicity, which is what they call like the cost of cancer, that hidden cost. Like everybody sees medical bills, and there's payment plans for that. But there certainly isn't anything that says you can only hold off your mortgage lender for so long, and you can't keep an empty fridge forever. So here we are, right? We're that stopgap that offers that.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I have a familiarization with it, but even hearing what you're talking about now, it just heightens my appreciation even more for, the great work you do. I want to pay you and Joe a big compliment because you do some of the most creative appearances that I think I've seen. It's you're you're dealing with a very serious subject, but you and Joe, I see you all over God's creation, and it's like you bring a level of fun, and it's a difficult subject, but I admire the way that you do it.
We have fun with it, and it's infectious, and I promise you that every one of our team members is fun. And they and but Joe is definitely at the heart of that for sure. And he's our chief engagement officer. I mean, he's, the reason it all started, right? And keeps it going. But he is really the bright light there. And the foundation has long lived on a kind of a principle or philosophy of upbeat cancer. If you can ever imagine there was such a thing. But that idea of that you've got to keep a positive attitude, even in these worst case scenarios. And that's what carried him through and Jen through, their family through. And they've just like, let's keep doing that. We even have upbeat events for our patients. Then we take them on Codzilla in the Boston Harbor, or we offer them a night at Ryan's Amusements, one of those facilities, and just run, have fun, get splashed on the Boston Harbor, or whatever we can come up with, right? And give those patients an opportunity to just laugh and try to forget about it and not have to pay for it, right? That's the other thing too. Just come out and have a good time. And even if it's just for this much, we think it'll make a big deal. But he is great. He keeps us on our toes. He keeps us laughing. The hospital visits, to your point, not somber affairs. When he comes in, there's no pretending he's not there, and he's laughing. He's got rings. But I'll tell you what, in the years of observing him on the floor with these patients, he is laser focused at giving and devoting his attention to them. So just because he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion doesn't mean you can come in sideways and try to get a selfie or get an autograph. If he's with a patient, young, old, doesn't matter. He gives you the old stiff arm and says, no, I'll catch you later when I'm wrapping up. But that dedication and his ability to connect with patients is amazing and is better than anything we could bottle and try to sell.
It says an awful lot about his character. Sometimes character is only revealed in someone. You can know somebody casually forever, but you see how they behave in a crisis, and it really is very revealing. And what you've said about how the family handled their adversity, and then how they turned their experience of going through it, and then the experience of hearing other people and how difficult it was to doing what they're doing now is really extraordinary. It's wonderful. And as far as his stiff arm, I wouldn't want to try to get by it.
No, not at all. Yep. No, no, no. He's definitely, and that's the great thing about when he comes to visit, he's coming to visit. Everybody else will take care of the business end of things, but he is all about those patients. And there's no greater humbling moment, or honestly, I can't tell you how we hold back the tears sometimes, but when we visited the pediatric wings and hospitals and they chat, and these kids are like, well, who are you? But you're big. You look like you might play football. I believe you because you've got those rings. And they're just kind of look, the eyes are like, oh my goodness, who is this giant man? But they start to talk, and he says, I've gone through what you're going through. And he has this thing where he pulls aside his shirt collar and he will point to the port scar, which is, for listeners at home, where typically infusion treatments can be done, but they place the port inside the chest. And a lot of children do have that. And they immediately go, I have one of those. And there is this, it's a magical moment. And all of a sudden the walls break down, they laugh, and they realize maybe I'll be okay because I'm still standing here. This big guy made it. I can make it. So he's amazing.
Unbelievable. With everything that you do, and how is it that you measure the impact that the foundation has?
Yeah, better outcomes. More people made it through.
Hmm.
They had the
Hmm.
money to stay with their treatment, and that's our goal. Is they don't forego the treatment because they've instead chosen to pay to support their like in good heart, writing in good reasoning, to pay for their bills. Instead, they were able to keep some money to pay for their treatment and to reach the better outcome. So the more good stories we hear like that they came out the other side, it just, to us, that's amazing.
I've been to the gala, and it is, I think I've gone 4 times, and it's magical. You pull out all of the stops. Every experience is better and better and better. What things do you have that are coming up outside of the gala that can share with us?
Sure. We do a lot throughout the year, and we really try to offer supporters or would-be donors an opportunity to get to know us through different activities and events. So we have a golf tournament. It's pretty much almost sold out, coming up at Black Rock on June 9th. That's an annual event for us. But before that, we actually have our hometown hopover, which is a lot of fun, and it celebrates our 17th anniversary of doing this good work. So we're going to do it Thursday, May 22nd, which is our actual birthday anniversary, at Angle Tree Brewery in North Attleboro. So it's literally our hometown. This is our second one. And we're glad to have Northeastern Savings Bank as our sponsor. I've got to give them a shout out. But it's a good time, casual, light bites. We've got a band coming. There'll be some raffles. And this is a great low key, low dollar event to come on out and say, see Joe, hear more about us, and really kind of meet our community. That's always a fun one for us. We have runners that participate for
Awesome.
Boston Marathon. We're fielding 22 runners this year. They're going to kill it. They're doing a great job. God bless them all, because I can't do that. So Godspeed, and I will be there cheering them on at the cheer station. I don't know how they do it. I watch them, but they're all, and
Extraordinary.
whether it's our team or not, they're all amazing, those runners. But we're blessed to have them fundraising for us, and then we have a Falmouth team we're building now. So head on to the beach to do that. But I will say I can break some exciting news for you here, Chris. So we've just solidified our gala date for 2025. So it will be Wednesday, October 8th at Gillette Stadium. We're going to be moving back over to what was the Putnam Club, but now it's the Cross Insurance Club. So it's same space, if you're familiar. I know you are. And our theme, this is going to be a little different, is called Late Night with the Joe Andruzzi Foundation. So the theme might be familiar, and that format may start to conjure images, but I assure you, different from the last one, but all the same fun that you've come to know.
Yeah, yeah, that it's just wonderful. For somebody to find out information, what's the mechanism for doing that? The website is
Yep, the website is joeandruzzifoundation.org. So every consonant and syllable in the alphabet for our website, but it's joeandruzzifoundation.org, and you'll see the events tab. You can learn all about us, who's involved with our organization, and most importantly, how we help patients, and then also our impact. You can read some patient stories on our blogs and about our runners. So really to get a feel for what we do every day.
well, let me say this, I've seen the website and it's beautiful, but my personal experience is every single person that works at the organization I've had a wonderful interaction and experience with. It's just you all and this is a credit to Joe and his wife, of course, and yourself. You like attracts like, and every interaction I've had has been memorable and special. So for people out there, my little endorsement certainly is, it's something certainly to consider, and thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for the work that you do in the community and for just, Danielle, for spreading your bright light. It's really tremendous.
Thank you. And that's all I can do. That's I get up, and that's what you hope to do. And if I can make one person's life a little better through working with my colleagues, and Jen and Joe have given us that umbrella to do the good work, I think that's what it's all about, right? We're just going to keep doing it and getting out there and doing the best we can and be grateful for every day we can do it.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for
Yeah.
taking a little time on a Friday to have a visit and a chat. I learned things about you today that I didn't know, so I'm super happy for that. And you
I
did
saved
breaking
him for
news for
you.
me, which is great. So we'll definitely help to promote that. But again,
There you go.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're a beautiful community member. You're doing great work, and I consider myself lucky to have you as a friend. So thank you.
Oh, Chris, thank you. I feel the very same way. So
Yay.
thanks for all you do.
Thank
And
you,
this was
Danielle.
fun being
You
here.
too. Thank you.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Happy weekend.